we haven't always agreed on how robust we must be or the strategy to get there, we've agreed on the reality that like the climate crisis is the most urgent threat to our city and its residents. And with that in mind, it's important to make something clear. If these bills are passed, all the concerned voices and actions that have been proposed here by our communities, elected officials, and so on are going to be thrown away. The choice we've had whether to, you know, have a victory over our future of whether our future will be powered by dangerous or polluting energy or clean energy that can create loads of jobs will no longer be a choice. And this is something based on our goals that we all have to vehemently be opposed to. And public opinion is on our side in this case. And our communities are clear about the decision ahead, but the people who swear to represent us aren't. So what we need right now is the representative champion that the folks in this city and the mayor should be. And I'm wondering, I don't know if he's here or if y'all can speak on behalf of him, but what Mayor Suarez's plan of action is on these bills and whether he will fight for our voices that have been convened here for the past, I don't even know how long, but everything that we've sort of communicated here. What's the plan?
I don't see Mayor Suarez on here. I don't know if he got disconnected for some reason, but I know that we're waiting for him to join. But I will say that the city is paying very closely to paying attention to what is happening in Tallahassee. And there's many, many bills that they're considering up there. Some that we are very much in favor of. I would say probably a lot of what they're trying to do is positive, but there's some that we disagree with. And when it comes to preemption of the city's ability to do certain things or enact certain programs. So the commission a few weeks ago did pass 2 resolutions in opposing Senate Bill 856 and Senate Bill 1128, which preempt our ability to put in place policies dealing with energy infrastructure. And they also enacted a resolution supporting changes to the PACE program, which will make it easier for us to grow our solar and other energy efficiency initiatives and to get rid of septic tanks. So I would say that the city manager, the mayor, and all the commissioners are paying attention, and they do get involved with certain ones that they feel are important. Oh, and I see the mayor is just coming on now. But
hey, don't worry. I just wanted to make a quick comment. And I gotta sign back off real quick because I'm sort of doing multiple Zooms at the same time. We also, and I don't know if you talked about this. I'm not sure that you did. I heard you talking about some of the action that we took opposing some legislation, but there was also Senate bills and House bills that I went up to support last Tuesday, which were, one of them was to match the Miami Forever bond. So we have obviously $200 million in climate resiliency funds, and the state is setting up a fund so that cities like us that have actually bonded out and are gonna borrow money for resiliency projects can do a 1-to-1 match. So that's something that we're excited about. They also have a bill that's a a septic to sewer bill, which is still alive and been funded, and some water quality bills as well. So right now, the city of Miami looks really, really good on some of these bills. We're doing everything we can to push them over the line. But I just wanted to just chime in on that. I've been listening as I do another Zoom and wanted to just jump in on those things as well. And of course, we're really excited about our carbon neutrality plan that's coming out on Earth Day. We've been working with FPNL. I had a great constructive meeting with FPNL. They're actually working on, and I think it just came out in the news recently with Miami-Dade County on electrifying the port. That's a huge deal. Many people don't know that the largest polluter in our city, believe it or not, is our cruise ships that are running on generated power. And so that's something that by being electrified, you're taking all that diesel out of the atmosphere.
Quick question, Mayor. Someone asked about what bill is the matching funds bill, if you know that offhand.
I don't know it offhand. I'd have to get it for you. I talked to multiple representatives and senators about it, but I'll get it for you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move to the next person, Nicole Gazzo. You are up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me the microphone. I wish I could have caught the mayor before he had left because I feel like we could do more for these preemption bills. I feel like Mayor Suarez is a very respected, honorable figure, especially since he's the mayor of Ground Zero for the climate crisis. And if he really wanted to take leadership, it would be awesome if he could go or maybe have a Zoom call, send an email, but to really himself directly pressure these Tallahassee officials and to show you all mentioned previously that elected officials are supposed to represent the opinions of the people, correct? We are here. I'm a college student. I go to UM. I'm a freshman. So these decisions on these bills are going to affect me directly. And I'm considering not having children because of things like this that are passing in our state legislature. Ideas like this to halt the city of Miami from doing what's right. So I feel like it would be prime if the mayor could go himself and voice our feelings towards these bills. We have been doing what we can. We've sent our emails to our state legislate, our state officials, but if the mayor were to do it himself on behalf of us, using our own comments, that would be awesome. And a way to do this is we're actually having a youth-led press conference in a couple weeks, next Monday, or I think the following Monday. We'll 100% send you follow-up details on this. But the mayor is 100% welcome. He is personally invited by me, all of us, the youth. We would love for him to join us because that's what we're going to be doing at that press conference. We are going to be putting the microphone towards the people who are going to be directly affected by these bills and voicing our concerns, because if this passed in our state legislate, all of these carbon neutrality plans that you've been presenting to us, dedicating so much hard work and time and research towards formulating, could be stunted upon and affected, and it would just make it harder for Miami to do all of the things that we know we need to do, especially if we want to be increasing rooftop solar and all of these carbon neutrality plans that we know we need. So again,
Thank you, Nicole. Alan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say the mayor, you may not see it in the newspaper, but the mayor is engaging every day and has his staff engaging every day, and they talk all the time with representatives in Tallahassee. So I think he absolutely is fighting on your behalf. I would say, as far as your event you're having, I don't know any of the details, but if you could send it to Alyssa, I can't say that he is available or will participate, but we can pass that information to his folks to see if it's possible. I know he has got a very, very tight schedule, but please pass us the information and we'll get it to their office.
And I would echo what Alan said. The mayor is actively lobbying and is actively speaking and leading on these issues. We just, had these conversations this past week. But the challenge is, as you mentioned earlier, one of the grassroots, which is we have elected representatives who rely on feedback from their constituents. And South Florida has a lot of elected representatives. And so if we can get the state of Florida to allocate $20 million as a starting point for Biscayne Bay, then surely if we contact our representatives, if you contact our representatives, our House of State representatives and our state senators, and make your voice known, then they're able to act upon that in Tallahassee when these bills come up.
Can you introduce yourself real quick, just because people on the broadcast can't see who was just speaking?
Yeah, this is Jeremy Schwartz.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, next we have Zalalem.
Hi, everyone.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I had a question about Miami 21. I know that there's a task force to revisit Miami 21, which is the planning and zoning code update for the city. This was written, I think, before climate change is really on the radar of the city in a major way, and also has proven to have some climate gentrification blowbacks in terms of special area plans, where we see some of our neighborhoods like Little Haiti getting gentrified with mass developments due to some allowances in the code. So I know there's a task force working on it, but I'm wondering, I'm also aware that many of the folks on that task force are some of the biggest developers, architects, and lawyers for developers in the city. So I'm wondering what we can do, or what is the administration's stance on both promoting anti-displacement in the Miami 21 rewrite and recommendations, and also prioritizing climate action, both in greenhouse gas emissions and in the way we build and the way we zone.
I'm looking. I don't see anybody from our planning department on right now. If you are, please feel free to jump in or let us know. But the Miami 21 is a work in progress and will be changed. And I do know that they have a task force that they have been putting together to look at it and try and be holistic. And I could not tell you off the top of my head, but they tried to look at representatives from each of the districts and certain qualifications as far as the people who are appointed to that task force. What I can do is try and ensure we have somebody here next month who can talk a little bit more in depth about Miami 21 and how they see it changing or evolving in the process at the next meeting we have a month from now.
Alan, we have Sue Trone here. So
Oh,
she,
okay.
and she's got her hand raised. So go ahead, Sue.
Okay, I didn't see her.
Hi there, this is.
Oh, and if you could say your role, sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Your role in the city.
Sure.
Well.
Hi there, this is Sue Trone, and I am the Chief of Comprehensive Planning for the City of Miami. I've been chatting here with my peer, Joseph Eisenberg, who actually is the coordinator for the Miami 21 task force. So what I understand is the next meeting for the Miami 21 task force will be held on Monday. As it relates, I'm trying to make sure I'm responsive to what was just raised. I believe there were some concerns about sea level rise and perhaps population displacement. So I didn't come in here necessarily prepared to answer specifically to those issues. My understanding is that there are some that they're approaching the task force thematically, and I don't know that they're approaching it along those lines, but more along the way that Miami 21 as the code is organized. So I don't have handy what is slated for Monday's discussion, but I'll be happy to correspond with anyone offline and give you a heads up as to what's slated for Monday, and perhaps to give you more information for prospective meetings.
And Sue, if maybe next month, if we could get somebody who is could give like a short 5-minute overview as to what's going on with it, I think that would be very informative for a lot of the folks who are here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe if Alyssa, I wrote this as a comment in the Q&A, maybe if you can share Sue's email as a response, I can then copy and paste that and reach out. But just to reiterate, I think the whole thing would be interesting, but also like, I think there are major concerns throughout the city about our ability to adapt to climate change and sea level rise, obviously. And then again, on gentrification and these mega developments in historic Black and immigrant communities across the city of Miami. So I would love to have a part of that presentation include how Miami 21 is dealing with that. And if we don't expect any changes in those regards, like how can we as advocates maybe assist in making that happen? Or what does the city need from us in order to support those changes as we, you know, as they're going through the process of taking another look. So anyways, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thanks. And we have a few asks for Sue's email. She responded to Zalalam's question. So if you go on the Q&A under answered questions, she posted her email address there. So a few of you asked that, just check the Q&A. So now we're gonna move on to Albert Gomez. Albert, go ahead.
Yes, if you recall, Alan, I think you probably were in several of the meetings, as well as Alyssa, back when I was at the Sea Level Rise Committee, we were having discussions of Miami 21. And it is what somewhat prompted a review of Miami 21, given the fact that when Miami 21 was written, sea level rise and the impacts that we were seeing firsthand, i.e. the reason for a committee being formed, were not integrated into Miami 21, where there are other value propositions for flexible adaptability and things that have to do with structural changes to buildings and storefronts and sidewalks and streets and infrastructure. You're governing people more than property, and the reality is that we were trying to assess how sea level rise could be integrated for the benefit of the people, first and foremost. But specifically, I listened to the task force meeting, and sea level rise was not mentioned once. And you personally, Alan, started this meeting communicating the importance of sea level rise as something that we are moving the needle on and refocusing and reprioritizing. And as I see more desire to have, as stated at the Climate Resilience Committee and at the General Obligation Bond meeting, the city's trying to move towards integrated strategies implementation. I'm wondering if all of these points that were brought up today, whether it be legislative concerns from Tallahassee, whether it be a task force not addressing sea level rise, that we could have those types of discussions at the mayor's forum on how we're going to better integrate our stated policies into the actual where the rubber meets the road within their individual committees and or delivered legislation, even local ordinance application. Because what I specifically asked that question, Alyssa, before on what is political acceptability, political expedience, and what would be able to be passed is not the reason why we pass things. We didn't put a organophosphate ban because of that. We put an organophosphate because I screamed at my commissioner for getting sprayed by a city official. And then it snowballed into a consensus that we don't need to do this and there's nothing good necessarily that's coming from it. So a lot of the times the port action was not a jewel that came from us. Alex Harris wrote an article on it, and they blew the whistle on inaction at the county and the level. And then the county, led by Danilo Cava, took a reactive step based on the port negotiation that was happening at the time, to lever that and get them to move to center on the situation. So all those were reactive actions that happened from government when the population requested them to move the needle. Political acceptability should be eliminated yes, it should prioritize maybe what you bring forward for fast and rapid implementation, but
That's
I don't,
exactly what it is, Albert. It's not,
yeah,
it's just a prioritization for what, what we address first, but it's not going to exclude any of the actions
yeah.
that are being
Well,
considered. So I just
I,
want to address that concern. And
I
then
would
my, yeah,
I would
and then
yeah,
go
no
ahead.
problem. Appreciate it if maybe you can address that integration, because again, the stated policy, what I'm getting communicated from going to the meetings and hearing from city officials, is that we are attempting to have integrated strategies to our strategies toolkit. We're trying to integrate across all the profiles, everything, so that we have better implementation of our goals and our stated policies. I'm not seeing that right now by some of the question answer responses here, and just actions. I'm literally looking at the actions, and I'm not seeing that. So I would love to see if maybe if you do have another mayor's forum, beyond giving us the updates on the greenhouse gas plan reduction plan, I would appreciate it if maybe we can start to address these inequities that are starting to show themselves at the different boards and committee meetings, where the communication is that we are pushing integration and we are prioritizing these issues. But then when the rubber meets the road, for instance, the Miami task force meeting, not even Miami 21 task force, not even addressing sea level rise, which was one of the real impetuses for even addressing Miami 21, because of the lack of climate resilient strategies that were integrated into Miami 21. So I would appreciate if maybe we can have another mayor's forum, and we could have a little more agendized and a little more competency on the delivery of the inequities that the community is speaking. And I've listened to the recordings, I've heard, and I hear a kind of a consistent drum, but I'm not seeing the resolution to the public's concerns. So I would love to address that in a positive light, and hopefully you guys can come to that in an agendized fashion in a future mayor's forum. And thank you for having these, by the way. Thank you very much.
Albert, you raised a couple issues there, and so let me address them. As far as the agenda, when we had the very first one, we had a discussion about balance, and we had tried to put a little bit too much structured presentations into this forum. A lot of the people who were here wanted to have it more open dialogue, so we shifted to where it is almost entirely question and answer format. But we can definitely provide more structured stuff in an agenda if that is what the people who are here would like. And definitely as far as, and just so you know, this forum does occur every single month on the same time period. So it's a monthly event. As far as coordination with the Miami for Everyone task force, that has absolutely been a goal of mine, is trying to integrate our sea level rise strategy, our climate resilient strategy, and the things that we're doing in all of the other departments. I have not been a very big part of the Miami 21 task force, but I will get myself inserted with that, working with the planning department to represent those interests, because I think it is extremely important, and it is an opportunity to better integrate. We are working very closely with the Climate Resilience Committee, with the Miami Forever Bond Committee. I do a lot of work with the planning department, the zoning department, to try and come up with an integrated strategy. And I will personally take that one on for you to try and get it more into the Miami 21. I know that they're very aware of what we're doing, but we can always do a little bit more. So I will make that commitment to you. But you're absolutely right about the need to integrate across departments and to strategize how to do it, because it's not just resilience of public works or just planning department. It's all aspects of what we're trying to do.
Great. One question that I saw someone had mentioned was if we had worked with like a sister city or something in Europe or somewhere that's kind of leading on net zero to have like a mentorship relationship. So I just want to address that one in saying that we don't have a formal kind of one-to-one relationship with any particular city. But as part of being in the C40 Cities network, it's a network of, close to 100 of the world's largest megacities, all at various degrees of working towards carbon neutrality, but all indeed working towards carbon neutrality by 2050. And kind of the role of C40 there is to kind of curate best practices that are most relevant to our city, and pass along that information. And then there's also a site that they have called their Knowledge Hub that has a lot of different case studies and best practices from all the different cities in the network. So they have a lot of resources. So it's not, necessarily that we're working one-to-one with one city, but we get to pull resources from all these different cities. And we've been looking at them as part of our greenhouse gas reduction planning efforts. They have a document on a green and just recovery that we've been looking at, and examples of climate action plans, as they're called, from other cities as well. So I just wanted to answer that question. And I'm not seeing anything else coming up, and I'm not sure if there's any other comments. We've never run short of time, or oh, there we go. We have, see, you just ask people to speak up. They're ready. Okay, so I have Clara Ransom and Colleen Brown. So Clara, you're up first.
Hi. Yeah, I would like to know, I hear comments meeting after meeting about different things that I agree with, but I'm wondering, like, for example, have you done a survey about what the public wants, whether they want to, whether they want the targets to be for 2035, or whether the public wants an outside auditor to measure the greenhouse gases? And and I heard several people also say they wanted the public input, and we're a few people, but maybe instead of doing surveys asking about the solar panels, or add to your survey what the public wants, if they want to stick to the 1.5 degree limit, or what they're okay with. And whether they want an outside auditor. These are huge decisions. And I think from what I was hearing was that you said you would talk amongst yourselves about what to do. And I didn't hear whether you were going to ask, what is it you're going to do? We have the mayor here. We were asking about an outside audit for the greenhouse gases, and they don't have an answer.
So, if you're asking me, I think the AECOM study is the one that outlines, the path to carbon neutrality. And we need partners in that process, because some of the stuff that is along the path to carbon neutrality are people that are not in our control. Obviously, and I think I saw in one of the chat rooms, they're talking about, opposing vociferously, preemption bills that would maybe hinder our path to carbon neutrality. And certainly we're doing that. I think Alan talked about resolutions that we've passed. Obviously, I've been to Tallahassee to oppose and support bills that I think are good in terms of water quality, leveraging Miami Forever, and also sewer, septic to sewer, which I think is a huge issue. And talked a little bit about also, the big issue in the port. So thankfully, we're continuing to focus on that. We don't always, unfortunately, have success in Tallahassee. We try. We've gotten a lot of good things from Tallahassee sometimes, but we've also gotten some things that are not so good.
Well, let me just ask a follow-up question.
Sure.
This is just for you.
Sure.
Could you agree to having an outside audit for the greenhouse gases for the city of Miami? And could you agree to changing the target? The C40 cities says that by 2035, we should have a 95% reduction in greenhouse gases. But the public hasn't been consulted on that. I haven't seen anything. And so I would think we should follow what the C40 cities say by reducing greenhouse gases 95%. So those two issues, the target for 2035 and then an audit.
Yeah. So on the first one, I think the target is, in terms of our targets are based on consultation with the C40, right? They're the ones that, because we were a late entrant into C40, and by the way, we're blessed to be allowed into C40. We're allowed into C40 because of my relationship with the mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Garcetti, who called me personally and asked that we join C40. And I said, of course. And so we're lucky to be in C40. It's a very exclusive, organization. And we've worked with them, and the targets that we've established through working with them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan.
Absolutely, yes, Mayor. And we did set that interim target because we knew that we were coming in later than other cities that have already been doing this.
And Clara, I think I hear your point, and it's not a bad point what you're making. I just think one of the things we want to do is we want to be fair and honest and transparent to the public, right? And we don't want to make promises that we don't keep. We don't want to just do something today, something in 2020 that I can say whatever I want. We're going to meet 95% by 2025, right? But that's not realistic, and it's not honest. And I think we want to be honest and realistic about what we're trying to do. Listen, if we can accelerate it, if things happen, for example, we're working with FPNL. One of the things that Alan discovered in the ACOM study was the percentages. And I don't know, have you gone through the ACOM study already, Alan?
Well, we are working through it right now, Mayor.
Okay. And that might make people feel a lot better once that study is out, and they can see how comprehensive the analysis that we've done is. And certainly, Clara, to your point, if we need to do more, I don't know that it needs to necessarily be an audit, because audit implies that we're auditing something. I think there could be more comprehensive analysis, right? More comprehensive monitoring, more comprehensive studying of where we're at from a carbon perspective. I have absolutely no problem with that. And we are going to get some federal funds now. And to the extent that we can use any of those federal funds for that, it's something definitely worth looking into.
And Mayor, if I could just add to that, we budgeted and we contracted with AECOM to put together the study. We didn't budget for an audit. So that's why we need to have the conversation with the administration, because if we do want to do that, we need to figure out the money and who would perform that audit. So it's not a no, but it's just more work we have to do to get ready for it.
Okay, we have probably one last comment, Colleen Brown. Colleen, go ahead.
Hi, so I just wanted to touch on what the mayor had said as one of the greatest polluters in Miami, which is the Port of Miami. So it's awesome to hear that we're trying to get the port totally on electric. But in the meantime, since it is the largest polluter and we have a defined pinpoint to be like, we know this is it, is there any other tactics to address the CO2 emissions that are happening in the port? Additionally, I know that there's the sulfur scrubbers, but there's other scrubbers that you can mandate. If you're coming into our port, you can't leave our air in a highly polluted state. And also, is there any mangrove restoration that's happening around the port that we can use as a large carbon sequestration fuel? Or is there any other ideas going in with like the UNEP Sustainable Clean Port Program? Because right now the Port of Miami claims themselves as a sustainable port, but currently the actions that are happening at the Port of Miami are not sustainable.
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, we don't control a port that's controlled by Miami-Dade County. We support them, and I think all the ideas that you've mentioned are good ideas. Alan, I think they're worth you speaking to the CRO of the county and talking about potentially mangrove restoration and any kind of scrubbing technology that could be helpful in the interim. I think there's one thing that, and I hate to say this kind of sounds bad because it is bad in the sense that right now, thankfully, not thankfully, but the cruise ships are not operational, right? So, and not, a lot of them are not at port as well. So we're also very lucky in a sense that right now, a lot of the pollution, which shouldn't be happening at all, is definitely not happening in the city because the cruise ships are actually not here. And the cruise industry is grounded, for lack of a better word. So that has been obviously the most effective way of them not polluting. But I think there has to be, as you said, Colleen, and what you're saying makes sense. We should not necessarily say, okay, well, let's just wait until this electrification becomes a reality. Let's see what we can do in the interim. And we will definitely take those concerns up to the county. And to the extent that we can help in whatever way we can help, we will definitely be helpful.
And Mayor, I'd also like to bring up Irela Bagay was just appointed as the Chief Bay Officer.
Irela's great.
Very, very passionate in this area, has a lot of ideas.
She is.
Talked about, and we're working hand in hand with her to try and implement those as quickly as possible.
And I give her the credit for the electrification because it's happened on her watch. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, Irela is awesome. I will get into contact with that, and thank you for hearing this, and hopefully we can continue with interim solutions.
thank you, Colleen.
And Mayor, I believe that we are about out of time. I would like to thank everybody who participated today. And Mayor Suarez, I don't know if you have any closing comments for today.
I just want to thank you all. I was listening to most of the conversation, and I think it's extremely productive. Look, we have to get to a point where we are finishing our stormwater master plan, which will be coming soon. B, implementing our climate neutrality plan, carbon neutrality plan, and C, we have to continue to create the kind of metrics that allow us to measure where we're at and our progress, and do that in a transparent way. I mean, that to me is sort of the genesis of how we get to where we are. I think, I'm very excited about the team that we have and the engagement that we have on this issue. And we're going to continue to move forward. And I know that there are some things that the legislature are doing that are antagonistic, and I'm vociferously against them. But they're also doing some things, I just want to say, that are helpful. And I also want to commend them for that as well, because, the matching funds, the septic to sewer, and the Bay water quality projects and appropriations are things that we would love to see passed.
Oh, thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you very much. Have a great rest of your afternoon.